As long as you haven't got the one that does this.
There's one of those.
Okay, pardon me. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking some time out of your beautiful afternoon today for the Star Valley Ranch Travel and Tourism Board meeting. It's about 5 minutes after 2 o'clock, and we have a quorum of the board present, so we are able to conduct business. And actually sent the minutes around for the last meeting. You should have received those a couple of nights ago. And unless there were any additions or subtractions to the minutes, I'd request a motion for approval.
So moved.
So moved. Motion on the table. Second.
Second.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the minutes of this would be the July meeting. I'll have May and the meeting before that next time, so we are getting caught up, albeit slowly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Deb's here, so good, thank you. Our peanut gallery is growing.
We brought our own table.
What happened? What'd you guys? All right, I was gonna say, what do we do with the mayor, but she's here. So what do we do with Jamie?
She had to bolt back downstairs, so
Okay.
I'm in control of the video.
So you are in
Scary.
control.
Yes.
I see. All right.
Not of much, but of the video, yes.
You should have an agenda in front of you. We request a motion to approve the agenda pending any additions or subtractions.
I have a potential addition.
Okay,
6D would be a discussion about collaborating with the Star Valley Ranch Association in the use of their assets for tourism
Okay.
in town, so.
also note that I didn't write this agenda. I don't know where it came from. It's not the agenda I wrote, but it's better. What is it again?
6D.
6D. And this is a collaboration with,
Star Valley Ranch
SVRA.
Association and, yeah, their assets.
okay. Just 1 second. Okay, with that addition, can I have a
I
motion?
move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On we go. Old business. Typically at this meeting, well, not typically, we haven't been in existence that long, but last year about this time, we spent a few minutes kind of reviewing the ranch market and its progress over the summer. I was in Yellowstone a lot of Saturdays, but the word around the community is it would seem to be pretty well received. Do we know anything to the contrary?
Councilman Merrill's here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're behind.
She's hiding behind this.
I'm very sorry.
I did want to say and thank the tourism board for all that they contributed, because it went better than last year, so every year I feel like it's progressing into a little more permanent site for our citizens to see and to come in and collect and enjoy, so.
Hey,
Yeah,
do we have things that we owe you or somebody else money for?
Loretta has been taking care of all of that, so if there is something outstanding, it should be finished up within this week.
Okay, but you're okay.
I'm good, yes, thank you.
And
Yeah.
anybody else that is indebted?
Yeah,
to this
Loretta's
project?
been taking care of everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, and, this event also kind of gave us an idea of some things. Thanks, you.
Would you like a microphone?
Don't touch me, No, but there were a few things that I think, myself and another, the person who was managing as well, noticed that she'll probably put into, some type of either the grant or just something to collaborate with the tourism board about.
Okay.
As far as like signage and, picnic tables and different things around, it might be nice for next year, but
Okay,
until then, it's kind of, we can, come before you guys then and bring
Okay.
all that up. So, yeah, but it went really well, so thank you,
Good,
everybody.
good.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
thank you. I know it's a lot of work. Jennifer, can we have some review of, from Friends of the Bridger Teton National Forest Ambassador Program?
You betcha.
Is it my understanding
I say that a lot.
with the government shutdown, you guys declared victory and withdrew from the field? Is that,
Can I say no comment?
yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Very diplomatic.
Say it that way.
Yeah, I have to say, government shutdown has been exhausting for our organization, so we're very lucky. You for the little stand, we all feel more natural here. Now we can portray. But first and foremost, I just want to thank everyone for even considering to give FBT a chance with getting this program off the ground, because I know that that's a difficult choice that can be made when there's no promises that we can guarantee. So I just want to say thank you for letting us try it. So Jack Robertson was our one and only ambassador this year. Your board had granted funding for two. And the U.S. Forest Service, as I had followed up with, thankfully, once I found out that they could not find a suitable candidate, a second candidate for this role, so that was near the beginning of June, or the mid-June. So thankfully we had some presence to just see how the program would work. So that was excellent. And I just, so let me just make sure I'm introducing myself. Jennifer Recupero, Partnership Manager at Friends of the Bridger Teton, and I have with me here today.
Yeah, I'm Margot Feingold. I'm the Programs Manager for Friends of the Bridger Teton. So with the Forest Service, I help oversee our ambassador programs.
Yes, so she's our Ambassador Program Manager. So she has not yet been able to talk to all you lovely people individually, so she wanted to come here today and start that relationship build that I've been able to do with you all, so thank you. So I have, Jack started May 19th and finished up officially September 2nd. He provided 616 hours of ambassador work. Grover Park, so there's some data there in that next section. Grover Park, he had about 103 visitor contacts of whom he felt comfortable approaching in that area. And Jack is gone, but I was able to meet with him before he left, as Margot was also. And as you all knew, Grover Park was going to be a little bit of a Wild West trial to see how that would go. And the main reason why we were coming to you all to help support was because we needed to try to put someone there, and you were a wonderful conduit and group to ask for that. So we appreciate that trial. He will not be coming back to Grover Park next year. He was very adamant about it. Lots of gun slinging and dirt bike running him off and such a thing. So he had a very bad time. So that was the whole goal of me having two people there initially, was just even for safety for both of them. Yes, exactly. And also, you know, just, and so he didn't have that, and we had hoped the U.S. Forest Service was going to be able to fill that gap this year. I don't think that they did an amazing job. So that's okay. We live and learn. So he did mark down 103 visitor contacts, 3 food storage violations. So we call these violations, what they mean is that these are situations where people have left food out on picnic tables or around their campsites, or open coolers, things like that, that could attract wildlife in any capacity, large or small wildlife. And so we don't write tickets with this program. It's basically just an educational thing. So if they were there, we just popped in, and Jack just was like, hey, FYI, it'd be great if you guys could store that in a hard covered something. And he was also given some tools. Yeti coolers aren't all that bear resistance unless they have a little, what is it called, screw and bolt. And that doesn't have to be very secure, but just on there and somewhat tight. So he carried those around along with other things to help provide these tools for people. And then he extinguished 5 unattended campfires. So those were built in like stone rings and left smoldering or actual flame. So, so thankful. But he had a rough time there, as you all know the area better than I do. I don't have to explain it to you in that way. But I have learned, so thank you. I wish I lived over here, I just don't. Pinedale's beautiful, but I know that I would love to live in your area and be able to support more, so. Star Valley Ranch, Jack had provided 6 days of trail crew work, thankfully with Craig's overseeing and guidance. Craig stepped up above and beyond, as we all know Craig normally does, to take care of someone, and he was really a really helpful wing for Jack to survive this summer here. I think without Craig, he would not have stayed as long as he did. So I'm just giving a quick shout out to Craig, and then hopefully some of the pictures on the bottom provided by Craig were Jack out in the field doing some work here in the town. So, and then what was not part of the funding, but it was promised by me in the final grant that you guys had approved prior to the season starting. I pulled my 2 University of Wyoming interns, and with Craig's support once again, and the towns, of course, they did 4 days in Star Valley Ranch, 1 in field and 3 as friends forts, and they made, within those visits, 95 total visitor contacts. So were any of you able to see them out in the field? Yes, I'm sure. So they set up it, so if you see that bottom picture, thank you. They were honored to meet whoever came their way, so appreciate it. Any of you made conversation with them, but these 2 young girls stepped out of a comfort zone, which is exactly what we want college students to be doing with the guidance of me, and thankfully the support of Craig and the team that came by there. So, so that's some of the harder, more consistent data. There's the ambassador success, as you can read at will. He was certified in wilderness first aid during the season because they felt like that would be important for someone in his position at Grover Park. So that was funded outside of the funding grant. The next 2 pages that you have, just so you know, are actual copies of invoices that have been sent to Star Valley Ranch, and both, I believe, have been paid at this point. Lori, who manages our finances, husband died, and yes, it's very unfortunate. And so for the past month and a half, I have not been able to get into her finances, but Scott was able to pull these 2 invoices for us to at least give you something hard copy in hand, and I can follow up with more details as needed, so I can have all the final invoices to the board once she comes back on. So I appreciate your just understanding there. This is a reimbursable budget, just to confirm with everyone, so we send an invoice and you reimburse it out of that. So we don't have any money to give back because we don't ask for what we don't need. So this is considered under budget right now, that amount, and I put the reason because we had only 1 out of 2, but thankfully we had that extra little buffer room because I did not even count the fact that when we pay people, we don't just give them cash. They have to go through a payroll system, and I didn't even think, oh, we pay Social Security and all that fun stuff that goes on there, and just the actual percentage that comes out of a payroll company, for those of you that have ever had a business and know how that works. I'm sorry. So if you look at the original draft report, I don't have any of that on there. So thankfully we have that little buffer room, but we are still under budget, which is always, we like spending all the money we ask for, let me be very clear. But at least I'm not coming saying we were exuberantly over and only having 1 person, so that made me feel happy. But, and then I just wanted to make sure that I noted it to the board that the Star Valley Ranch Natural Resource Board had granted us $500 to help with travel expenses between Grover Park and Star Valley Ranch. We spent only about $142.80 of that. That invoice is in the works right now. So that they actually gave us a $500 check. So that was at the beginning of the season to spend off of. So I'll be working, Craig's already reached out and others, to just confirm what to do with that extra money. Whether it's a hold or a dog waste station at Swift Creek Campground, which was mentioned. So just something to make sure that it follows what the Natural Resource Board would agree. So just, I wanted to be very transparent on that amount. That has not been determined what to do with yet. So if it's a check back to them, we're happy to do that too. It's just to clear the books for the end of the year, however we need to. And of course,
I have an invoice question.
please.
So when you came with the proposal, one of the things we talked about is to conform with Wyoming statute, we have to actually book our expenses for the Travel and Tourism Board into the 3 buckets. And we've got clearly the mission for this was primarily the mitigation piece, which is 30% of our total funds. When you present an invoice like this, is there any administrative in here that we need to book in a different place?
Yes, so if you look in the small print to the left on that invoice, you're gonna see
Got it.
ambassador expenses, FBT admin fee, and then total invoice.
Okay,
So that is split up, and once again, I'm sorry that I only have 2 of these. I believe there's a 3rd invoice, I just couldn't
Got
get
it.
a copy of it.
perfect, thank you.
Of course, of course, no, thank you for the question. And I just want to say, I just really appreciate you giving this a chance. I know that we had many discussions about this previous, and just trial and error. I would love to support the natural resource, which is the Bridger Teton National Forest, which is what our mission is all about. And I know that most people wouldn't live here if the Bridger Teton National Forest didn't exist. And that is an understanding that I try to just say, thank you for letting me try this program the way that we had initially set it up. I do believe next year, for future funding, if we do come back and ask for it, I think in speaking to Craig, which Craig, if you feel like you want to speak up to this or not, we're just discussing on maybe to see if these potentially 2 people could be based just in Star Valley Ranch. Which I think is a more appropriate usage now that I realize they're gonna have not a lot of support from U.S. Forest Service at Ocotber Park, and I don't feel like I can trust that process ever again for another person. Because I felt horrible that Jack at the end of the season was talking to us in August about, oh my God, I felt like I was gonna die every single day. And I was like, oh my God, I felt horrible. So unfortunately, communication can be improved and just consideration of the program. So, and we are, just so you know, our Ambassadors for Responsible Recreation program is starting to try to pull away from U.S. Forest Service management. They, as part of the agreement legally, they need to always be involved, but we're hoping to try to continue to show them that if they give it to us, that it will just get done better.
So what's the prognosis? I mean, I think moving the program here would be great. And
We do too.
I can't speak for the whole board, but I think in terms of funding, we'd be much more comfortable using our lodging tax for something that is here every day or every other day or whatever the case may be. But based on what you learned this year and based on, I mean, the political climate is always going to be an unknown, I think, for the next few years. But under the assumption that you could do it again next year, would you?
Absolutely. Not even a question. I love Craig and I love you guys. That's what I mean is I would move here if I could. But it's
Well, we're not asking you to do
no,
that.
you wouldn't want me because I'd be on this board in a heartbeat. You'd have to hear me jibber jab or be on my quest. But I'd be at the farmers markets. I'd teach yoga and all that too. So boxing too if you wanted. But yes, the answer is yes. We would love to do it. We'd love to continue to add capacity, not because Craig is asking for that with his crew, but just I trust him.
So is it your intent to pursue the program for next year under kind of a different umbrella?
Yes. Yes, I just didn't feel like this was the appropriate time to come with that request, but I just wanted to waft it over the group.
I
to
wasn't
see
asking for a commitment, I'm just sort of trying to figure out where you guys are.
Yeah, and the hopes are is that, pardon me, one more answer, so thank you very much. The hopes are is that we would just need to find a place for them to be, to live, right? Because Grover Park was the answer to like housing them, putting them somewhere in a dispersed campground area that that they could be on the forest for free to live. So the thoughts would be, I would need to start building relationships with maybe the RV park or.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, so that would just be something I'd have to just come through, and Craig's already started that conversation just to see if it'd even be a possibility, because hopefully they would just donate a couple of sites, but if they didn't, then that would need to be negotiated in the cost also, because right now we are almost hitting a zero budget line at the end of every year, so we're not, and everything is growing. And our capacity is needed more and more when it comes to pumping vault toilets and everything else, so that money shrinks really quickly. So when it comes to a newer program like this, which is only now potentially into its second year of possibilities, we would have to come with all the funding we would need to make it possible.
Okay.
Hope that is clear. Thank you.
Taylor?
Okay, Jennifer, there's two comments in here that I'd like some more information on. It talks about town business and general information, I'd like to know what the general information was, and your ambassador's feedback that would help in decision making. What feedback did you get?
Okay, hold on, let me just make sure everything, where did I have, okay. So, in-town business and general information. So this would be overall information as to, we get everything from where can I, camp to, you know, where's the closest grocery store? So that's what falls under general information.
Okay, so that's something, would you suggest the town then needs to provide some kind of material or lack thereof that they can hand out related to that?
Yeah, and I think Mayor, we had spoken about your amazing binder.
The short-term rental binder.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that also consists of some of those like important numbers. So if we did base out of Star Valley Ranch, absolutely. I mean, we'd want to get with you all to make sure, because they are a front liner. Some people go right to Grover Park that have always, I mean, you know, but this won't be Grover Park, this would be Star Valley Ranch. So we want to be providing economic support for the town that we're hosting.
What was the ambassador's feedback for decision making?
I can speak to that a little bit if you'd like.
Yep.
A lot of the feedback that we get, so you can see sort of these numbers that Jennifer had put together of the total visitor contacts, but each day that Jack was patrolling, he is collecting data through Survey 123, which is an app that we use. And in there, there's a space for comments. So he was giving comments. A lot of it is because of the way the program was run this year, was for the U.S. Forest Service. So it was looking over like what stay limits are. If he was noticing there's this trailer that's been here for 3 weeks, I told them to move and they went over there. So a lot of it is for the Forest Service to be able to sort of manage how the day use is going in Grover Park. And obviously, because this is our first year having any ambassadors in Grover Park, it was really just sort of that baseline information of if people are abiding by the stay limits, if there's shooting happening in areas that might not be allowed, if there's somebody put up a porta potty in a location that nobody knew about, something like that. So a lot of it is just daily on the ground feedback. Also, if there's a bear in the area, something like that. It's just general notes, day to day.
So it's more Grover Park than was Star Valley?
Yeah, for this year, it was more for the data collection on Grover Park, but obviously if you move this to Star Valley Ranch, we'll be able to sort of tailor that to the information you all are looking for.
And then hopefully they'd be at the farmers markets, and we can just keep expanding the support there for the recreating responsibly, the economic support that comes through your businesses and your towns and your communities that we want to continue to support in a good way, and then also the resource that you all probably use.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jennifer.
Yeah, no, thank you again.
Appreciate you,
You guys.
coming all the way over here.
Of course, we'll be here next week too, so so if you're in the town council, which some of you are, you'll get to see our beautiful faces again.
Can't go
Thank you,
wrong.
guys. Was there any other questions? I want to just make sure that
I'm sorry.
it's closing it, but,
Can I ask one?
yeah, okay, sorry.
Can you cover what kind of luck you had with other ambassadors in the valley? Like getting funding from Alpine, Afton, all those meetings, just to...
Yes. Yep, so Alpine Travel and Tourism Board is funded an ambassador this year for us, and that ambassador was at Moose Flats Campground. Thankfully, Mayor Green gets it also. He would have given us money for 4 ambassadors. He, like, when we proposed, I don't know if you watch any of those town council things, but he stepped right up behind my proposal and was like, I think they're asking for too little. We need the help in those areas. We want to get that. We're going to have an increase of population. We want to try to start supporting that. So they were as understanding as you all were, as just that this program works. I'd love it if fully managed under FBT, it would work better, but, so that was Alpine. Afton, I'm having a little bit of an issue with. And I say that as an issue being like, I'm building relationships, right? You're understanding who I am. I understand there's a time and space to creating trust and respect, not only from a person standpoint, but also business standpoints. So I never expect anyone to just trust me right away. And so Afton is a split board a lot of times when it comes to the natural resource that is there. There's half of them that are saying hands off, don't go anywhere near it. So they were not positively supporting a Grover Park ambassador. I had a lot of Senator Dockstetter conversations that, don't be knocking on our trailer doors because you're gonna get a gun in your face. So those comments were actually being made. So I would love to continue to work on that relationship and have them understand as best as they can that the resource is always going to be here and it's going to continue to be used. And if the U.S. Forest Service or other federal agencies can't manage it, then you need to start putting volunteer crews out there if you're not gonna put money in for funding. And so I have talked to a few public people in Afton who have also talked to Craig about starting a volunteer trail crew to try to mitigate some of the stuff that's happening. But once again.
Not unless they're armed.
Yeah.
So does that answer the,
Yeah.
so I'm honored to come in and have real conversations with you all as I was with Alpine, just to let's get on the same playing field and understand each other fully, like what we're talking about. We're not thinking this usage is gonna go down. No one thinks this usage is gonna go down, and that's what I tried to explain to them. And it's okay. I understand people can live however they want to and think whatever they want to, and I try to be understanding of that. I can't force a commission or a mayor to think differently, but if anyone wants to have lunch with them and me, I'd love to see how to bridge a gap there, because I just can't get that door even open a little bit to let a little light in. So I'm trying my best. So.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, I mean, they should be supporting some things in that area, and they want to, I think, deep down, but they're just not trusting yet of an organization like ours, or anyone that comes from a government agency standpoint, which I completely understand, because believe you me. So, as a shoulder-to-shoulder partner, it can be complicated. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks very much.
Appreciate it, thank you all.
We covered this a little bit at the last, but do we have an update on the town birthday celebration? We aren't doing it. It's being done, but it isn't us, right?
Yeah, so this is where we're at, and luckily we have the mayor here to back me up, because I was at a town workshop last month, and afterwards I asked the question, what are we doing? Because we'd started the year thinking that travel and tourism might be doing something to support. We are now looking at a downscaled observation of the November anniversary, 20th anniversary. And what we've got, and I will just legit, and then the mayor can elaborate because she's the creative genius. So where we left it a month ago, and she can correct me, was more of a town-focused celebration with coffee and cake because it's in November. But we have an opportunity to have a promotional, commemorative, advertising type lapel pin item that can be a little giveaway for everybody that comes, or for our council people to wear, or anybody who's representing the town. We're talking to the anniversary. So this is her creative genius. She did the sample, and we've got cost for it, because when we talked about it, it's like, you guessed about $500. These are anywhere from $1.50 to $2 a piece to commemorate the anniversary. So if we contrast that to things of value to the town, to say maybe the 250-year American birthday coin, this has probably got a little more relevance when it comes to promotion dollars within the town. Because it's promotion, this is something that I would recommend that the tourism board actually fund. My recommendation would be to approve a buy of these sample pins between 500 and 1,000 units, which would put us in the $900 to $1,300 price tag. And that would be the extent of our contribution to the celebration.
Okay, do we need that in the form of a motion? Or is it premature?
Would you like to elaborate any more?
I think it would probably be a good idea to have this board do a motion to approve using the travel and tourism funds for it, if you would like to do that. And as far as the birthday itself, we were gonna purchase more of these other than the small batch we got as samples. It'd be nice to have them, you know, for the birthday, which I think is November 8th, if I'm not mistaken, the Founder's Day. And we had also talked after the last council work session, about probably having, you know, cake or cupcakes or ice cream, you know, kind of advertised to the residents that we're going to have a little mini celebration after the work session or meeting, whatever it is. So just, you know, low key.
Well, I think this fits under our promotional umbrella as far as the lodging tax is concerned.
Okay.
I would certainly entertain a motion if you want to fund this, that we recommend to the town council the expenditure of funds for this purpose. And then the council can take it from there.
I'm not opposed to the pins, so don't get me wrong. But from a visual aspect, small pin is kind of hard to see and pick up. I know other towns in the area have gone to hats, shirts, sweatshirts or whatever. Is it possible to do some kind of a mix, or what is the rest of the board?
We've had a separate behind the scenes conversation about the opportunity to merchandise
It's supposed to be cool.
hats or t-shirts or whatever on behalf of the town of Star Valley Ranch. It's not currently on the agenda and we haven't fleshed it out, but I do think there is definitely that opportunity to use some of our promotion things to do a more visual representation. Because my thought would be that the best ambassadors for this town are our residents that actually wear the town logo. I mean, that's, I would say, better bang for the buck than in a lot of cases any printer, media, digital.
For the celebration, you could have some hats or some whatever you end up going with and give it to the people that show up.
I want something like give them this little freebie, which is pretty cost effective, and then have the hats as an optional purchase as they're coming through to offset the funds, you know, the expenses here.
Fine.
You know,
I mean,
it's always nice to have options.
I think it'd be nice to have something in addition to that. I mean, that to me is when people come into town hall, you know, there can be some of them there and, you know, just you're a resident of the town and here you go. And, but I'm open to whatever the board would like to do, so.
I like that.
Well,
I do like the hats.
I'll make a motion that,
You know, when you're shopping around, people go, oh, you're from Star Valley Ranch,
at least preliminarily, I'll make the motion that this board recommend to the town council that funds for the purchase of 500 of these pins be allocated from the town's lodging tax budget.
You could even promote it, first 500, get a free pen.
Well, I was gonna start with 500. If, I was gonna, I don't know what the number is, but
Marketing.
it seemed like 1,000 is too many, and so my thought was to start with 500, and if they need more, we'll do more. Once the die is cast on these, they're simple to make.
Yeah, and with the samples, there's no, like, if we use the same place I got the samples from, there wouldn't be any more setup fee or anything like
Yeah.
that, so it's just.
Yeah,
the
so once it's
quantities.
done, it's done. So again, my motion would be that the board recommend to the town council the expenditure necessary for the purpose of 500 of these pins for the birthday celebration.
I second that.
Second.
Motion and a second on the table. I'm sorry?
Can we continue discussion for a
Sure,
moment?
I was gonna ask for discussion.
Is 500 where did that number come from?
My head,
Okay. Why not 600, why not 300?
there's absolutely no reason whatsoever. I just thought 500 was,
Generally, there's
But
breaks.
no, there's breakdown in there.
Right there, there's a.
50, 100,
Yeah.
200, 300, 500.
you can look at this, Tyler. I don't care how many we do, What I didn't wanna have was a bag of these stuffed away in a closet someplace,
Right.
rotting away, so I
See
was
them all walk away in
thinking about doing
2025.
it,
Yes.
I was thinking about doing it in 500 increments.
Do we expect to see 500 people?
I don't know, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I think it's a
We
lot.
see like 10 at a town council meeting.
Just looking at that, it seemed like 500 was a reasonable return on our investment.
And if we also like I said, keep some downstairs at the desk when people come in to visit town hall that are
You can
residents.
get a
we can
lollipop or
Force a pin on them.
get a
so they can
lollipop
take it
or a
away with
pin.
them.
And just out of curiosity, like, is there anyone looking at a budget right now to see how much we have left as we continue to do
Yes,
stuff like this?
we will get to that.
Nice, okay. Just make sure we're not like willy-nilly emptying the coffers.
No, we've got
Okay.
plenty of money.
What's our vehicle for distributing these?
Well, I think it's going to be the social events surrounding the birthday celebration in part.
Us
in-
on the table, we're going to pass them out?
Right.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean,
Wherever this gathering is going to be held, which I assume may be the Red Barn up in the,
Yeah, I'm not sure, we haven't
Is it
kinda got
heated?
that far.
Does it get heated?
I wanted to make sure that anyone who was volunteering on a board or, the staff,
Yeah.
those folks got one for sure, right, just because they're, and then we have folks on the trail crew and things like that, anyone that's volunteering for the town, I think we would want to make sure we put one in their hand, and then the rest would be all, whoever is at the gathering, I don't know, such as the gathering might be.
any other questions or comments?
How many homes are on the ranch?
Almost 2,000.
Yeah. Our population's pushing 2,100 people now.
Yeah. So, what's
In terms of homes, it's about 11 or something.
Yeah,
They have 30 new building permits out now.
yeah.
The growth rate is going this way.
So I don't think we'll have any trouble getting rid of those, but
Yeah.
I just, like I say,
Just
I
remember,
think-
you're living in the subdivision once it's all built out.
if we live that long,
The rate it's going, look out.
if I can handle the noise. Okay, does anybody want to do a different number besides 500? I don't care. I pulled that name out of my hat, so. All right, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nice, thank
Okay.
you.
We're
Thank you,
moving on.
great.
Let me see here. I will draft a short memo to the council. Is that what you're looking for?
That would be wonderful, thank you, yes.
What's the turnaround time on these things?
So I put the order in on the 29th for the samples, and I had them by the 10th of October, so it was pretty fast, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, are you gonna have to send out, I don't, most of us are here, but
Yeah, I know.
make a decision so that we can get them in time. We're only a month away.
Yeah, we do have a work session next week, so I think we
Okay,
can,
perfect.
yeah,
So you need the memo directly.
yeah.
You got it in
Don't
6
mind,
days.
Thank you.
There'll be a meeting.
Sorry, Frank.
I'll write it from my snow cave
I was
in
gonna say, 'cause I know
Yellowstone.
you're gonna be out
I'll
of
write it from my snow
Yellowstone
cave
this
on
weekend.
Saturday. All right,
Technically, Katie can bring it to the council representative. She can bring it to, we can go from there.
Yeah, so,
It'd be nicer if you had a memo, but
I'll do
Yeah.
it. It's
we
not a
can do it
problem.
either way.
okay.
I've got a
Get a memo for the
template now,
record, that
so
would be great.
I'll take care of it. It's baseball on tonight, so. Who wrote this agenda? This isn't the agenda that I wrote.
This is one you sent to us.
It is?
It is kind of up to date.
Really? Okay, well, whatever. So, I met with Bob King from the county economic, he's the county economic development director, but his other hat is shepherding the various travel and tourism boards in the municipalities in the county. So we went to lunch one day, thank you very much, and sat up at a place I shouldn't mention context of a public meeting, but it's up here on the hill. And spent a good share of the afternoon just kind of yapping about various things. I think the take-home message is he's trying to do a lot of stuff, and various communities are sort of in and out, depending kind of on what they want to do. A lot of what he's doing is commemorative stuff, so I'm sort of combining D and E here. They're talking about doing some commemorative coins, and this is for the 250th anniversary, country's anniversary, sort of the county's participation in the national anniversary celebration next year. So they're talking about doing a lot of commemorative things, and I don't have a sense, well, I do have a sense. My sense is we may not be wanting to get in it that deep. I could be reading it wrong. But being a residential community and not having a strong business focus, it occurs to me that the business people are pushing a lot of this commemorative stuff, which is fine. It's great. It just may not be Star Valley Ranch. And I need to take the temperature of this board to see how deeply you want to get involved. I'm happy to continue to go to Bob's meetings. He operates on a really funny, odd meeting platform. So I get notice of meetings about 3 minutes before they happen. And I'm trying to get on the same page with him, but it's challenging. He's got a lot of energy, a lot more energy than I have. But I don't know how deep we want to get into this. My sense is that we want to stay informed, that we want to be able to pick and choose projects that we get involved with, and that I guess as your representative, if I'm going to go to these meetings, if something sounds good to me, I'll bring it back to you and we can decide if we want to participate. But participating in everything is going to be really time consuming and not very productive. I don't think the residents of Star Valley Ranch care, to be honest with you. So that's kind of where it is. Bob's a great guy. I really enjoyed his company, and I'll continue to go to the meetings, assuming I can get at least 5 minutes of notice. If something concrete develops that I think fits this community and this board will embrace, then I'll bring it back to you. If not, we may just sail along in blissful ignorance.
Question,
Yes.
based on just what they're bandying around at the county level, are you getting any impression that we're being serious about the impacts in the future of what tourism does to this valley? And are we doing anything proactively to make sure that there's infrastructure, anything in order to enable it?
Well, the short answer is no.
Okay.
I think, well, for example, Kimmerer would happily embrace as much tourism as they could get, but they're also beginning to find out that this nuclear plant is gonna blow up their community in ways they hadn't anticipated. I don't mean that badly, it's just the economic impact. That's probably wasn't a very good choice of words now that I think about it. But the point is, the impacts of this nuclear, this nuclear plant they're already impacting the real estate market. And it's just a matter of time until they begin to have in Kemper the same sorts of problems that a lot of the resorts in the area are facing: affordable housing, traffic, crowded schools, infrastructure, lacking infrastructure, and that light has just come on. So what they haven't figured out is that the quest for additional tourism is gonna just exacerbate that. So, and then other towns down there, I don't even know the names of the little industrial communities around Kemmer, was it Diamondville and
Yep, Diamondville,
a couple of
Cokeville.
others, but Cokeville has all kinds of new development. I mean, there's not even a grocery store in Cokeville, but they have all kinds of new people coming in and buying property and throwing money in that community, and then 10 years from now, you may not recognize it. So up here, it's a little different because we're already in the business of tourism. Alpine and Afton, to some extent Thane. But here we sit, Star Valley Ranch is a residential community. Yeah, we have tourism, but it isn't the same. It's people coming to recreate quietly, and we don't have motels, we don't have a lot of, we don't have much commercial development at all. So people here recreate differently than they do in Alpine or Jackson. But we still have some level of a tourism economy going on kind of at the surface. So Lincoln County's I wouldn't want to, I mean, Bob's in a tough spot because Lincoln County is very diverse in its economy and changing faster than I think most people in the county like, particularly in the southern end of the county. On one hand, those folks want economic development, but on the other hand, they really would like things to be the way they were 30 years ago, and you can't have both.
That seems like it would be the first step in communication down from the state of Wyoming when it comes to adjusting their viewpoints on tourism and where the state wants to go in the future. And we'll just use Jackson as an example. I don't think that the state of Wyoming ever had the impression that the way that they approached lodging tax and the spending thereof and the advertising budget of Jackson was going to do what it did to the state. I would expect that in the future they're probably going to pivot and then have to take a look at some of this mitigation stuff that they haven't, and just putting in infrastructure that they haven't bothered to do.
Maybe, or
But those conversations, the Wyoming viewpoint, Wyoming high-level government viewpoint isn't actually coming down into the county-level discussion that's shared. Okay.
And I mean, if the past is any predictor of the future, the state will be late to the party. The state is hardly leading the charge in progressive thinking when it comes to local government. You know, we just pushed a huge shift in the tax burden from the state to the counties. And that's unhelpful when you're talking about infrastructure. So I don't know what's going to happen, but Bob's busy circulating around from meeting to meeting, and I will continue to go. If something that I think sounds interesting, I'll bring it to the board, and vice versa. If the council picks up on something, somebody comes to the council and it's something that needs to come to us, let me know.
You just triggered something that I'm not sure everybody in here knows. For property tax this year, everybody got a 25% reduction in your tax, property tax.
Right.
Or more.
That's 1 year only.
Right, you have to apply.
Unless you live in the state of Wyoming over 8 months of the year and you have to apply for it.
Right. You have to go online and apply for your exemption in 2026.
You're not happy with that?
No, I just,
A lot of people,
You look like you're in a
No, a lot
no,
of people
I
aren't
just
gonna
wanna
know
make
that.
sure people know about it because
And isn't it if you're here 25 years or more, it's even
all of that's
it's
gone
even
on.
higher.
Yeah, that's 50%.
50%?
Point is, for the deduction that you got in 2025, you have to apply for it in 2026.
Test you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would surprise me when I stumbled onto that.
And you can now do that, the counties, you can do it on, you can do it online, you don't have to go. So that's where the tourism board is. Anything else on that?
It just seems like for particularly E, that none of us are particularly compelled to get on that bus.
I didn't think so. I mean, that's certainly been, my philosophy. I'll know more. The commemorative coins, are being localized. So they're not necessarily Lincoln County. They can be localized to the individual community. For example, Alpine is doing one. But, you know, again, it's like these things. Commemorative coins, of course, are a little more expensive, but what is it we're commemorating? And do the people of Star Valley Ranch really care?
Going back to Barb's comment, I was involved in a conversation with some mayors not too long ago in relationship to the tourism tax piece. The feeling of those people is that it will be changed in the not too distant future to move more money into infrastructure.
We'll see. I don't know what more money would be, but
Well, more than 10%.
Whose
put it
money?
that way.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe not 60% promotion.
okay. New business. Coffee with the mayor. That would be
Yeah.
Barb.
So the reason that this is on the agenda is that after I went to last month's coffee with the mayor and I fielded a few questions, I actually sent an email out to the group and said this is essentially what impacted this was related to our work scenes in the Travel and Tourism Board. So of those, I have just two. So the two focuses are the travel and tourism monies. I got a question about that, and we'll get into that, and that's what this is going to be about. And the second one's just general questions. So we'll start with the monies. And we had a resident that asked, and I don't know if she's just looked at all the financials. She said, well, when you guys started the board, there were monies in the travel and tourism account. Where'd it go? Because I can't find it anymore. Which, it's like we know it was there, but it led to an accounting question and how we're booking stuff in Loretta's account numbers and stuff. And so Loretta and I met after, and she gave me the account number for everything that we've got in the reserve, so at least we know that as a group. And if anybody's interested, I have them, but I should have put them on this. But there's one account for all the receiving lodging tax money. As of the end of August, the reserves themselves, not counting this fiscal year, $78,082.65. So that was everything up until June 30th of 2025. It's all there. It just doesn't show up in the budget because the budget's a year-to-year thing. So the visibility is problematic, and I didn't know where it was either because I couldn't see it. So now we've got that straightened out. That actually opened up a second question, and that's how we're booking our money. And we know with the Wyoming statute that we need the 60-30-10 split. And we currently in the treasurer's accounting system did not have those split into 3 different account lines. So I got with Retta and we've added 3. So when we get back to that question that I had for Jennifer on making sure that we had administrative and mitigation and promotion booked correctly, hopefully that'll be the primer all the way down into history. Anybody that goes into the travel and tourism accounts, because they all have those labels, that we get the stuff more booked properly. Because we can approve something here at the Travel and Tourism Board level and know it's a statute thing, send it to the town, but we still have to make sure that the accounting is up to snuff going forward. So hopefully we've got that all figured out. I did see what she's got, so now it's split into 3 things. So the money is all there, the 78,000 plus in reserves. Interesting, because I looked into the numbers for this year, in just July and August for the lodging tax received, because we get it at the end of every month, we were actually 83% off what we were the previous fiscal year for lodging tax.
We're down.
Down 83%, which is interesting because there's more short-term rentals. So last year at this time there were 55-ish. I think this year there's slightly more than 60.
Obviously, they're not doing very good business.
But when you look at this, which is just a notional thing, because I was trying to project out, if we were trying to do things like contribute money to the town commons project and stuff, how much money are we actually talking about that we're gonna have to play with? So even some of my assumptions for this fiscal year are probably over optimistic, because I was doing a bump up for inflation, and I was doing a bump up thinking that there would be extra short-term rentals with about the same kind of rental pace, but that might not be the case. This might be an actually flatter situation where the only plus up we really see maybe this year is our increase in the lodging tax that we approved last year in the election.
Be careful on one thing, because the state is not known for sending money to the towns on a monthly basis. Sometimes it's quarterly, sometimes semi-annually, et cetera. So you may want to check into that and see when,
This one's hitting every month.
they're giving the money every month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like all the.
Interesting question.
I was surprised too. I went, well, that's how I could take a look at it and went,
Well-
oh, we're running behind.
I mean, the bottom line is, we have some money that was built up over time, but,
78.
but the money that's coming in on a yearly basis may be less than we had anticipated.
Or then even a little more conservative than what I've currently
That's
got in this
fine.
chart, which is just, this was a notional thing, so we could start to think in terms of planning forward the three buckets and how we need to be nailing these things. Because if we do not participate with the Lincoln County in a financial donation manner for whatever cause they've got, then it behooves us to actually spend the money that we're getting to actually have a positive tourism impact,
Right.
not sit on the reserves.
No, and we've talked about that before, that we need to identify projects to use up some of this money that's been sitting around for several years. Okay. I
So
get
this
it.
was just a primer for me to look at. Did that get to your, our money situation question?
Yeah.
I'm kind of talking for Loretta today because she's not here, but she and I went over the stuff.
The other thing is the town has changed its budgeting format, so you're gonna see it on a monthly basis instead of once a year.
Nice. That's what Granicus is?
It's the
No,
software.
Granicus does the lodging, the short-term rental one.
Yeah, that's
They
the,
do the short-term rental.
that's the company that manages
yeah,
our
it
short-term
does.
rental program.
It just reported or?
It just tells us which residences are being advertised for short-term rental.
Right.
That's about it.
And the reason
They
that
do
it's
other
on here for
services.
visibility is that you could argue that there's an administrative cost to that maybe is partially picked up by this board, depending on
That's something the town pays for?
town history. If Granicus actually had the data capacity to get us really good tourism information, then it makes more sense for us to have an administrative buy-in to their service. But as it stands right now,
And part
it's
of,
more of a compliance.
part of the,
The town, the travel and tourism pays for the Granicus.
no, the lodging tax, not lodging tax, but the licensing fee
Yeah,
for,
Granicus, their services.
But I believe the town opted not to renew the Granicus contract.
Right.
Ah, okay,
Yes.
Why was
because
that?
of the
Just weren't the offers. They weren't
Very
doing it well enough.
lacking
You
in
could do the
customer
same yourself by
responsiveness.
Got it.
looking, you
Did not know that, sorry.
Yeah,
short-term
sorry, that was as of
Airbnb
the
or
new budget year, so about,
that
Okay.
way.
July-ish, so
Yourself about
apologies.
that.
so we back to doing it ourselves?
Yes,
so-
and using, the staff is really starting to dig into using this program the town has had called iWorks, which basically does everything, permits, you name it. And it really wasn't utilized as much as it could have been before, and the town was paying for that. So the town staff now is actually figuring out how to use it to improve short-term rental management, using that instead of using an outside service. So,
Okay.
and
And
since.
there's something called web crawlers
Mhm.
that you can use to identify who's
The
advertising.
properties and things, right? So they're getting pretty good at sleuthing it all out. But just on the quick subject of the property, the lodging tax itself, and I do not remember who told me this, if it was the town administrator, maybe it was Councilman Ellis, a conversation with Mayor Green from Alpine that, they have a ton, I shouldn't say ton, they have a lot of lodging tax revenue because of all their hotels and everything, so much so that they're having a hard time spending all of it. And there's also then some rumblings now about possible changes in the legislature to broaden the aperture as far as what you can spend that money on. Now, hasn't happened yet, but at least there's that conversation is starting to gear up, yeah. So-
Okay. What else, Barb?
So the second one was other questions from residents, and the first one up for that coffee was, it's a rough summer, there are a lot of projects going around town, but this particular person thought that we should be doing a better job beautifying the town hall, because it's the entrance focal point for any visitor that comes into the town, being that we don't have it town commons and whatever, so it gets us back to the travel and tourism funds and beautification, right? Just so you know, it's like people are starting, they're aware that there's a travel and tourism board, they know that there's an image that the town wants to present, so this beautification thing that we keep tossing around but we haven't really spent any money on is probably gonna accelerate a little bit, assuming that we've got like a commons project or something to focus on.
You're starting to see some of it now in the interest right now.
That's that national resource.
Yeah, it's coming out of the NRB. They're the ones that are doing the design work. They
Well,
actually have, on the NRB board, they actually have a landscape architect who's doing some stuff,
Like what?
figuring out the rocks that are going to go in. That's gonna be a xeriscape piece down on the entrance. On the north side, on the south side, there's water there, so they can do more with the green type of thing.
That would be nice.
So,
Because I noticed there were volunteers, but they don't get paid, obviously,
Right.
so
and
I was wondering where
the next piece is the town hall. They're
Okay.
starting to work on developing plans for that as we speak.
So like by spring, maybe?
Well, that's gonna be the interesting piece, because there is nothing in the budget of the town this year for landscaping around town hall. But they're gonna come up with plans, and we talked about it at the last NRB meeting, telling us what it would cost, but we won't have the money to spend for that until July, unless we figure something else out, because the council can always change reserves from one area to another.
Yeah.
So that will be forthcoming.
Okay.
So also in addition to that, with the Coffee with the Mirror, there were questions about short-term rentals because they know that's where our lodging tax comes from. So I think people are becoming more and more aware of short-term rentals. Don't know that we have a consensus of where we want to go with them, but there was questions about the grant applications, how much money has been collected from the short-term rentals. You know, everybody's got well, this is a problem short-term rental, so you can imagine where that went with Coffee with the Mirror, sorry.
It was a fun time.
There, also an undercurrent, and I get this, and you guys probably get this too, is when they find out that the town has a travel and tourism board, particularly residents that have been here for a long time, really want to know what the posture of the board is. And
What is?
the posture of the board. So up until this point, and we should probably bang it around a little, because this goes into the next item D, collaboration with the Star Valley Ranch Association. I always pointed to the mission and that we're a residential rural community that has a focus on nature and that, which would infer to them that we aren't doing an aggressive promotional stance for tourism like, say, Jackson does, that isn't the goal. I think we don't know if we need more messaging, because I think probably the strongest place that actually comes out for us is in our grant application, because we really haven't had a conversation with the town. But if you get it, that's what I'm saying. Everybody else can do what they're doing, but I point to the mission, because I can stand behind that, and that's what we put in the grant application. So there's that. The other thing, and this was the inspiration for item D, is that there's a lot of approaching with having to do with the Star Valley Ranch Association and the golf club and all this stuff that looks like a tourism opportunity, right? So I think from the item D is we need to know what our guardrails are of actually having the two entities work together, because there's probably some things that this board should not be doing on behalf of Star Valley Ranch Association's profit-making opportunities in the golf course and other things that are probably more acceptable, like when you bring in a tournament from Idaho or somewhere out of the state where essentially brings tourism dollars into the valley that would not have been here. So I think we need to flesh that out a little more. If we're going to work with the association and use their resources, we need to know what's in and what's out. And the town attorney gave us some ideas, even though I think we probably have to beat on that a little harder, of what should be in and out. But from a town, as we go forward, the association's resources are our primary resources besides Bridger Teton. That's it. It's their golf course. It's your, you know.
Right. Do you know if the golf courses, I guess I could look on their website, are the golf courses held in as common area in the association? Or are they for-profit business entities?
The association's a nonprofit, and
Yeah.
it's
The
common area.
association, okay,
It's
the
a
common,
nonprofit.
right, but it's
it's
not a
common area.
501c3, it's a 501c6,
I think it's 501c9.
maybe.
No,
But
which one
the
it
point
is.
is, it's not a 501c3, it's not a charitable organization. But the golf courses are held as commons.
Yeah.
So this
they're-
is,
So if the golf courses are held as commons, then they are not for profit.
However, the shortfall in revenue coming in from that can be covered by fees, et cetera. That's what I think Barb's
Right.
referring to.
well, the reason it's gonna get interesting is because the August meeting of the homeowners association actually had the general manager and the golf pro. They're in attendance, and the topic of being more proactive with regard to tourism on the ranch came up.
Okay.
So, and this creates this buzz with our mission as a town board and whatever they think that is. So even though this is a little out of line with the
Well, I
collaboration piece, I've also tried to follow up with,
I don't think it's that deep. I think
probably
it's,
not
I
either.
think you're overthinking it. It's, we need to generate more money for the golf course, because if we don't, then the assessment goes up. And that's what everybody
Your assessment
complains about.
is limited by the consumer price index.
I understand that, but they have to make up the difference somewhere. So,
That's the reason they're
So-
looking at.
right, so all they're doing is trying to increase play, particularly at Aspen Hills.
So part of your sensitivity would be, you could overplay your card, we'll just use as an
Right.
instance, of helping to promote the golf course together as a joint thing. You end up being super successful at that, and then you've actually
Yeah, it's-
lessened the membership's position and opportunity to play on their own course.
Right, I mean, one of the things that they could do is create a nexus between nightly rentals and golf. You could sell golf packages that tie into your nightly rental here on the ranch. I don't know that that's ever been talked about or not, but that's, pardon me?
It has not been
Yeah,
talked about.
but that's the nexus between nightly rentals and golf, for example, is creating some sort of a package that would appeal to people to come to Star Valley Ranch, rent a property, play golf all day, and hopefully go home. So I don't know, but we need to be careful.
Now that I've
about-
kind of pulled D forward and we can continue along that theme, we've also got, they have the barn that could be used for things off-season. If we're thinking tourism, and this also ties into your things for the winter, it's like of the resources that we have on the ranch that are winter-friendly, they're all the associations, pretty much, right? So what kind of a dynamic do we want that to be, and how proactive do we want to come to the table to make this happen? Because it's on your list for winter here, right? So we could be
Right, I
diving
put
right
that
in
on
right now.
the agenda with the idea in mind, is there anything specific pending today that we need to budget for, get a grant application in the mill or anything else, with respect to making sure whatever it is either happens or doesn't happen. And I'm not aware of any, but I didn't know whether you guys were aware of any or not. Of anything, I mean, we did the skates.
Yeah,
We talked
yes.
about,
Special Olympics.
yeah, we talked about some of that, didn't work out. Is there anything else going on that, because we don't meet very often. And, the next time we meet, there'll be snow on the ground. So,
Well, the association has their cross-country program,
Right.
the club.
Right.
Then they do a lot of events, they do
Right.
the poker run.
and they've
all
not
this
asked,
that,
and they've
so
not asked for anything,
they-
and I
They have,
don't and I wouldn't expect them to unless they were gonna do something different.
right. The skate thing, they're going to do that this fall, I've checked on that to make sure,
Okay.
but with what happened at the offices up there moving around, they're awfully busy with that right now, but they do plan on putting in for that. There may be some things that come down the line for another grant to
Well, we
coincide
can,
with
and we can
events.
handle those things, I just was
Mhm.
trying to make sure
Anything
that,
new? No.
right, I was just trying to make sure that we didn't
No.
drop the ball on anything.
No.
Okay,
I feel like we've chatted offline about some signage or some like a nicer entryway for the ranch, like by the barn over there. Is that something that would fall within what we're talking about right now, or is this?
yeah.
Okay. You don't care about that, or are we good?
Well, I think in the context of a greater plan for the entryway, yeah. The Natural Resources Board is working on that. I care about it. I think we ought to have a better entryway, and I think, we need to work on the whole street, because you go from this to
Currently
that.
happening, Frank.
Pardon me?
It's currently happening.
I know it is. I ought to get off of that. So, but additional signage, all of those things, and we can do signage in the context of lodging tax. It's one of the things that we can do, so
Alpine just got nice new signs.
I'm not sure we're there yet, just because you don't want to take it down until the rest of the stuff is done, but.
Oh, it is, so we might know off the top of our head when we talk to the town attorney, but is the whole idea of adding pathways up to the two major trailheads outside of the money scope of this board?
I don't think so, but I don't really know. I mean, they would be, you mean like painted pathways in the roads, like a bike path?
So I've been watching, because we've had a lot of construction traffic on, every time Vista's closed, Cedar Creek, so we've got the Cedar Creek path, and then we've got the Vista connection up here. Every time we reroute anything with these big trucks and stuff, this is almost a safety thing. It's like the last 2 years have not been good if you're a pedestrian or a pram or a bike or a golf cart on either of these roads. So for a tourism standpoint, granted, we're all in flux for this construction with the roads and stuff, but it doesn't seem that we're really hospitable to getting up to either of those trails.
Well, until we get some of these projects done, that's probably true.
Did we ever get it? Because I saw that was one of the things that was on the general election stuff. Did we have a price, what we thought that was gonna cost the town to do?
You mean for the bike walkways?
Yeah.
Part of the issue on that is the road width and right of way
Right.
the town has. So there's only two that we've got sufficient width in the town that we could do that on even. And that's gonna require some realignment of the roads a little bit.
Got it. So one of them was Vista all the way up?
Yeah, I think so. I think one's Vista and the other one's Cedar Creek.
So some of this ties to sort of the last thing on the agenda, which is the town's upcoming master plan update. Which is scheduled, there's a public meeting scheduled for next Thursday at 1 o'clock in this room. And at that meeting will be the town council, board chairs, and department heads. It's an open and public meeting, but they will not be taking public input. The way the public has input into the master plan update is through the survey that's out in the community now. So anybody with updates should first use the survey, and then second, certainly welcome to come to the meeting. The mayor has asked me to facilitate that meeting, which means I can't participate as chair of this board. And if one of you guys is interested in coming to that meeting as the board representative for travel and tourism, I would appreciate it, because I'm not going to weigh in on master planning issues. I'm going to move the meeting from the beginning to the end.
What date was that?
It's Thursday, week from tomorrow.
At 1 o'clock, we think it
1
would
o'clock.
we're gonna try and keep it up to 2 hours.
Yeah, my hope is to keep it to 2 hours. We'll see how that goes.
And if I can just add real quick to that.
Sure.
So the specific agenda for that meeting is to prioritize some draft community development objectives. So these are the projects and the big things we want to try and prioritize for the town going forward. And then the public will still have an opportunity in the spring to make public comment to the draft master plan in its entirety. So it's just that next week, you know, we really needed to try and pull a tight group of people together to do this piece. Doesn't mean that the public won't get any more input, but that's all.
When's this meeting? It's next Thursday? the
Next
16th?
Thursday, a week from tomorrow at 1 o'clock in this room.
1 o'clock?
Yeah.
I went to a planning and zoning meeting just recently, and I did talk with Dolores, who's on that committee and whatnot, so if no one can make it, I've gone over stuff.
I'd love to have a volunteer, so Vince,
Vince is in.
Vince is in?
Tyler, you probably got to work.
Second.
Good answer.
Well, I can, and I've, you know, on the mission, there are certain things they wanted to change in the wording, and I've gone over that.
I will
with
not
them.
tell you what to
They-
say. I will not tell you what to say. You say
Okay,
whatever you
well, anybody does, let me know.
Okay.
That's, please, before I go,
So,
that's fine.
my role is
Certainly
different.
will. So I'll be the ears for their,
Yeah.
the eyes and ears for this meeting, basically, is what
So
it is.
hopefully the master plan will update some of the things we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a component, there's several components in the master plan that talk about roads and the entryway and,
And the commercial aspect of where
commercial
the town is
plan.
going, changing the wording from rural possibly to something else.
yeah,
The rural, if you change it, and they did they had a court case in Montana that I sent, that was one of the deal with their statement that they wanted to change, and that opened them up to a lot more commercial development because they changed the wording, which is our rural type.
Well, this
that we have
commercial
here.
area here is currently zoned
Which is,
commercial.
yeah, which is fine, yeah, but it could open it up
Yeah.
farther down the line on the ranch, like a boating thing that we have on Ridgecrest, you know, with the boating, the scenic tours. Right? I don't know where that came in, but that just came up because it seems like commercial development already, you know, an enterprise right there.
Saw that guy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I know
On
it's all
Ridgecrest,
down.
they've got like 6
Ridgecrest.
floatboats, scenic river
He was like
floatboats
sanding
right
these
down
big
by the,
rafts or
if you drive
something.
on the ranch in here, you can see it. Yeah.
Oh, Ridgecrest?
And he had a big.
On Ridgecrest? Right
Yeah, right there by
On
where,
18?
Almond used to live.
Because you can't
Right on
advertise
10.
if
He had a
it's
truck.
like
He had a
that.
truck.
Wow.
If it's sign, if
Oh, yeah,
it's a
there's
truck,
like
it's
6
sitting there,
big
but
Yeah,
floatboats.
it wasn't a sign.
so do you
Scenic
float in the
floatboats.
golf course ponds, or
Huh?
It made me
do you
wonder.
float in the golf course ponds?
No, they take them down the Snake, and that they bring people in, and that's, and they've
How long
got
have
all
they been
their
there?
boats.
Yeah.
They've been there,
It's like right on,
most recently, just in the last couple of weeks, but it has been built up for this in the last year.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, and it's Teton Scenic float trips, and the rafts are,
Big ones.
yeah, big ones. There's probably 6 right there now in the front, and they've got bands, they've got, you know,
Me and my
and I
dogs
do
have
know
walked
they
over there
bring people
lately.
in.
I've
It's
shared
amazing to drive by stuff and not see it.
Right off.
So anyway, the wording on it opens up, and then it was rather full circle that this is something
Interesting.
that I would bring up and talk about,
Okay.
if that's okay,
I don't care. I'm not gonna tell you what to say.
and mostly listen.
Okay,
Can I just throw in something?
One,
quick?
yeah.
A quick
Sure.
question? Is there any, reason why we couldn't continue the farmer's market indoors for the winter months?
indoors where?
No produce?
Here, no, it doesn't, there's hardly any produce there anyways, I mean, it's more like, you know, all these other little businesses and stuff.
Well, like just before Christmas.
Well, I don't think
Well,
there's,
I don't know,
I don't think there's any legal reason. It's a matter of building
Debbie
use.
Compton, I talked to Debbie Compton last week and I promised I would bring it up. She said she has about 15 vendors that would be happy to do something indoors on every week.
Wow.
So,
Is this area big enough for 15?
yeah, for sure.
I would have her bring a proposal.
Yeah.
But this would be
Just
great.
tell her to do that?
Be like-
That's a great winter idea.
Yeah.
You know, again,
Okay, I'll
might
tell
be
her.
something,
Work session or something, or at least send an email or something like that.
Yeah, okay, all right.
it might be something we would be willing to
Try out.
fund.
Yeah.
There you go.
Work on the maritime through the wind blows.
Okay, seem to go off on our other direction, so unless anybody else,
Oh,
Sir, wait.
for also winter, do we want like a small committee to get together and talk about the whole merchandising idea with hats and whatever?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll just take this as a side thing and,
Okay.
and correspond by email as we proceed and then decide if we need to be.
okay,
I'd also love to propose, I think just kind of to piggyback off of what you were saying a minute ago, I think that it's, right now, it's very clear what our mission is, and it's literally just to support that. I don't think we need to do anything crazy right now, but as we evolve, the new master plan, there might be value in us creating our own mission statement, just for clarity for the town.
More than what you mentioned?
Oh, well, more specific to, yeah.
More
travel and
specific to tourism.
It's like how travel and tourism actually acts on that mission statement,
Mhm.
whatever it is.
Yeah, because that's,
I
I
think
don't want
that's
to say
good.
call it vague by any means, but that's, that covers a
It's
lot of
very broad,
areas that have
yes.
nothing to
It's
do with this.
intentionally semi-vague.
Yeah. But that, a lot of that is, that's the town, that's not just us, we have a very specific space in there that.
I think that makes sense.
Yep, like that idea, thank you.
so now that we've been around for a little while, we can do some things that will stabilize us.
You're like a 5-year-old now you start moving on up.
Taking the training.
What else?
Nothing really there's no action item from this, I just wanted to, I guess, speak my mind on it, but, I think it's a dangerous line to walk. Collaborating with the ranch association, dangerous isn't maybe the word.
There's some
Slippery slope.
legalities we
Slippery
have to be
slope.
careful of there.
I think we absolutely need to. It's very obvious that they hold all the fun assets. They're members of our community. We are all on the same team here and executing, I think, the same dream. I think, we just need to tread carefully when it comes to
Create some guidelines.
businesses and who we're going to specifically support in the business world. That's all.
Which is, I mean, the elephant in the room is me. Like, that's gotta be really careful about, and that's not anything I'm looking to get, is travel and tourism support. I go through my own marketing, I have my own events. So I wanna be real cautious of money flowing my way, if somehow somebody could interpret that.
Yeah, I
And
think we're
we will
collaborating
be
on
mindful.
specific events that, and there's a very specific vision and execution. I think that's one thing, but if there's like a long-term partnership that we're trying to develop with, that's going to financially benefit a specific group, I think we should just take that slow.
Well, and I am not aware, nobody from the association's ever approached me about anything. So, that's the starting place. Should somebody approach us, my pledge will be to bring this group together as quickly as we can to unpack whatever it is that's going on.
So Taylor and I were having a conversation, we got approached by the golf pro, who is not a member of the community, but has all kinds of ideas. So that's just one instance. And you go to a homeowner association, you have the general manager and the golf pro actually talking about it too. So talked to the general manager and said, you know, we kind of need a meeting to, at least let's chat about what you have on the top of your head so we know, you know, kind of from, because we're also the town, right? You guys need to know whatever they're thinking. So I thought I could get that out, but so far, after 3 attempts, it's like she hasn't echoed back. I've even done them in person, so I don't know if that was just a nice conversation or what, or they haven't really thought about it. But from a collaboration
The
standpoint,
town administrator and I, on a town council side, Trevor and I sat down with the board a couple months ago and actually had a great conversation of how to collaborate with the assets of using, you know, possibility of snow plowing pushed into the air park and things that'll help each other out.
Right.
I think where the line would be crossed is if we're throwing travel and tourism dollars at promoting the golf course or the restaurant or whatever up there without, I mean, I think that's where the line is crossed. So there is communication with Trevor and I and the association, probably more so than has been in the past. But I think the events, I think I would echo Tyler's idea of like having specific events. Like I have thrown out Halloween, the barn. Well, now we're in the month of Halloween and that's clearly not gonna go anywhere. Nobody's taking the reins to like make Halloween work. Yes, they have the asset, but they don't have the time and the space to make that event what it has always been and has been a really great event for this community. But I mean, it's literally just getting community members to want to take on those events, to approach us.
Yeah, I don't see a lot happening right now, and if it does, we'll talk about it as quickly as we can, but I'm not.
It's just because of snowbirds?
Pardon me?
Are you saying that because of snowbirds, people leaving right now because of the snow? Or
I'm just
people
not,
in general?
I'm just, in general, I'm not
Don't
hearing
care at all?
anything. I don't sense that the association is particularly, I think the association has a lot of problems of their own. They're very short-staffed. They have limited things that they do, and I don't think they're looking to do anything else.
I think there's a new awareness that tourism is actually a thing. It's gonna be part of our future.
That's probably true.
We're all coming up to speed on it. I don't think a lot of people even actually
Things
realize
may
that
be
we've got a
different.
tourism board in the town.
Things may be different in 5 years,
Right,
but
yeah. I think it's
right
early
now,
stage, making sausage or throwing ideas against the wall and see what sticks.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Just to echo you, I think that there probably is a ton of value in us having a consistent year-round, maybe not even calling it a farmer's market, but an opportunity to showcase local businesses and to allow folks to get together for just to be a hub of
Because a
that.
lot of those people, those vendors, are not even from here, they're from outside, and you were talking about something like wanting to benefit people, you know,
Yeah.
bring people from, you know, I don't know, our conversation at the last farmer's market. But yeah, titling it something different than farmer's market, because that does imply fresh produce and whatnot, but we hardly ever have fresh produce.
Well, we call it the
It's
ranch
like one
market.
little bit.
So-
Rancher's market, yeah.
Well, we had called it the Ranch Rendezvous, but that got changed.
So
Right.
I like Ranch Rendezvous.
That's what it was. and
That's what it
then
was 2 years
It became
ago.
something else, so.
It's nice
That's the winter
alliteration.
version.
I like that.
It is.
Is it a
Is
problem?
this something we can handle on our own, or do we have to?
The
loop
word-
in
No, we
something
can, it's
own?
our deal,
The
so.
word rendezvous ties in very well to this general area as
See,
well.
that's good,
Yeah.
that's good.
I like it
Okay,
too.
I'm gonna tell Debbie that too. Okay,
Do that.
Ranch Rendezvous, sure.
Okay, anything else for the good of our order today?
Jackson Hole is a rendezvous site.
I will declare us adjourned by unanimous consent, whether you like it or not.
Thanks, Frank.
3:30 PM on the next.
3:30.